Hello, folks. We're live. This is Festbier night. I'm in Louisiana. Jesse with Bumpy Road Brewery is in New Hampshire, and Michael Komaroff. Yeah, you might want to mute it, Michael, because it's making a bad call.
Okay, I will.
Or turn down your volume. Michael Komaroff is in Brooklyn, New York City, New York. He is Michael Komaroff Festbier approved. Jean-Pierre called me about an hour and a half ago and wanted me to give him information on Festbier. I said, well, I gave him Paul Honor and Ryan Stefaner with two relatively easy ones to find. Next week is Marzen. All right, so next week, y'all, is Marzen, the more common American Festbier, Oktoberfest beer. But in Europe, in Germany now, for the last 30 years, it's been this golden Festbier. So I'm going to show y'all what I have, and then we're going to try to look at a screen share and show y'all some information on the brewery. So maybe Andrew from Miscellaneous will join us. He had asked about it, the style, and he had asked to join Beer Talk a while back, and I added him, of course, so that he could have access to the links. All right, and also knowledge of what's coming up. But here's Weihenstephaner Festbier Premium Bavaricum. It's got a pretty label with a laurel all around the label. Oh no, hold on a second. We'll go to Bumpy to describe his for a moment.
All right. That's the AT&T ringtone right there. So from Bitburger Brewery or whatever it is, out of Bitburg, Germany, have their Festbier. This comes in at 6.2% ABV. It's got a nice little label on it with the kind of things you might find at the Oktoberfest there. That nice pretzel right there below Festbier. Then you got the hops and all that jazz. And then it looks like little flowers as well. So kind of a simplistic but nice label on that. Pop the top on it. Pour it into a dimple glass. Dimple mug. And it has a nice, tight, white bubbled head. This leaves about a finger's width head there. I didn't pour it too aggressive. This one it's kind of that golden. It's got a little bit of an orangey coloration, but it is kind of on the gold side of orange. And this is a pretty thick glass. And pretty wide as well. So I think it's concentrating a lot of it. If this was a skinnier glass with different proportions, it would look a bit lighter and more clear to see through. But I can see through it. So it is clear. And that's the beer right there on the screen. It's got a unique hop blend, it says. You're muted.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be rude to you showing the website. I was just trying to provide some more information. That was Allstate Insurance calling me about my home repair. So.
Oh, no problem. I'm done. I was just when trying to go over the color and stuff like that. It was just like I said. I think it would look lighter in a different glass than what it's coming. This almost looks like a Marzen, but it's not a Marzen.
Yeah, I was about to say
that's too dark. I would say that's too dark to be a Festbier.
Yeah. But you brought up their thing, and it doesn't even mention them using, or doesn't mention it being a Marzen. It does say it's a Festbier style with caramel and.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. Now, BC is in Michigan, and he has what tonight?
You know, ironically, the same thing as Mumpy does. For real. Yeah.
Hey, well,
Yeah.
that's fine. So,
Yeah.
a few minutes
I
you can show.
wanted to,
So,
yeah. So I was about to say, you know, you might want to keep the same information on the screen because Mumpy kind of explained it pretty well for me. I get that we're both unique individuals and we kind of, what is that?
I can screen
Explain
share
it
it. I can screen share it.
in a unique way, and that you know he has his way of telling it. I've got my way of telling it, but he kind of out topped me on this one. But you know what? When I bought this beer yesterday at Discount Drinks, it was like it was saying like I was expecting more of a Pilsner like style, but when he started pouring his, it was like a what he was saying, more of a Marzen style color. So
Yeah.
I was kind of excited to see how this one turned out, and uh, I mean,
All right. Well, hold on, because I gotta go back to mine because I got interrupted by insurance. But I had
okay.
insurance. It looks like that's working out. All right, now, so I poured I poured mine, and you can see it's golden like Schaefer, but it's not Schaefer. It's this. There's your checkerboard neck, and like I was saying when the phone rang, you got the laurel all around the bottle label, and it's from the world's oldest known brewer, Weihenstephaner, Bavaria, established at least by 1040. It could have been older than 1040, but we have records. They have records going back to the year 1040, AD 1040. Yeah, thank you, John. Now I'm going to do a screen share and show their website.
Oh, no, James tonight. Wow, I'm surprised he's not here.
I don't think you could find a Festbier, or I don't know if he was interested in looking for one.
Yeah.
Here they're saying flavor and color. Deep gold in color, luminous in the glass, harmony of hop and malt aromas. And then they got this here. You can press here. The dense foam and rich maltiness of this beer are especially impressive in a liter mug. Well, I don't have a liter mug. Roasted chicken and flavorful alpine cuisine. Well, no, I don't have that. I do have some corn chips. All right, now let's see what happens when I press this. Oh, it goes right there. 5.8, 225 calories. Original gravity. That's Jesse's territory there. He's a home brewer. 26 IBU. Half-liter bottle. Well, in the U.S., we get the 330 milliliter. None to date, no awards. And then they're showing the Bavarian beer burgers.
Oh, those look like crab cakes.
Yeah, they
Crab
did kind of
cake.
look like crab cakes. Yeah.
Hey, crab cakes. So, all right. So I poured it, and it's going to be good. But unfortunately, it's only 11.2 ounces. So I'm not feeling too good about that. Now, Michael, I'm going to try to drag Michael over to the sharing screen, but that doesn't always work out. So let's see.
Okay, I will unmute myself. This is from Fair State Brewing in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it's their Festbier. You can see on the side, they're calling it a German-style party lager at 5.7%, and it's a 16-ounce can, and it was brewed on July 27th, so it's a couple of months old. Should be fine. I'm interested if the color will be closer to Jay's or closer to the other one, but I guess there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, I'm
And that's-
interested as well.
And that's the
Yeah.
port.
Yeah.
But they're claiming it's a German style Festbier.
Yeah, this is
No,
the first fest beer I poured that
Yeah, I'm shocked by that appearance.
pretty
I
much
can't
is
get
it's pretty much a Marzen.
So let's see if mine's
Okay,
lighter.
I see. Now I started smelling mine, and it kind of had the same smell. Yeah.
golden.
Okay. Mine, I guess, is closer to Jay's than it is to theirs, but it's still darker. Let me see Jay's again. Jay's, yours is still lighter than mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike's is a little bit darker, just a little bit.
Mine has a lot of carbonation too. BC, does yours have a lot of carbonation floating up and down too?
From what I can tell, no, but it definitely is hazy though. It's like unfiltered. It seems like.
I mean, this
So,
one has. This one
I know
has
the camera is not getting the right light on my phone, but this is more like, I don't know, almost like I don't know, somewhere between a straw and a copper color for me. And
They're
this seems
they're saying it's decocted, which is an extra special process where the mash is boiled, which is interesting. I'm happy Jay found that information because I didn't look it up, but gives you an idea a little bit more about the beer. 5.87% and 20 IBUs.
okay, I got you.
And I'll be ready to give a description when you come around again.
I'll be right there. Hold on. I'm trying to see what happens when you click malts. Oh, never mind. All right, so we'll stop sharing. Now we're back to
Hello again. BC.
Oh, we back on me again? Okay. As far as this goes, I mean, it seems to be like a slightly lighter version of a Meissen beer. I mean, it's unfiltered, as you can tell. Now, as I was trying to say, the camera from my end doesn't really give it justice. I don't know, but it seems like it's a bit lighter than what it seems to appear on camera. Carbonation, I really can't really see any carbonation off of here, but the lacing seems to be fairly decent on here. And when I started, it seemed like there was like a off, like almost maybe khaki, or not khaki, but khaki like head to it. Yeah. And I mean, I've tasted this already. I mean, I don't know if we want to get into taste right now, but
no, not quite.
okay, well, I'll leave it as that. I'll stop there then. So, I mean, it's got a good lacing.
Here's the Bitburger Festbier. Again, I wish we could get it in Louisiana. I certainly have never seen it. Pilsner malt,
Yeah,
Munchner malt, and caramel malt, and fine color. Yeah, it's a fine color, but it's too dark. Seal hops. If you hear this cat in the background, the cat's outside my window crying. Oh yeah, go ahead, cry. But then if I come outside, you slap me with my hand and hurt me. I don't like that.
Well, the other thing that it mentions is the Munich malt. I mean, that's commonly what's used in making a Marzen.
That's really weird.
I mean, that's kind of what's giving me that Meissen vibe off of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird, I'm shocked, Jesse. When I saw that beer Jesse had, I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm like,
I put it into a different glass. I was like, maybe it's the color, like from the glass. It's not.
Yeah, and do you notice that they don't bother showing the beer on the website poured into a glass?
Yeah, yeah. Now I know I asked this question last week, but I mean, besides the Fest beer and the Marzen beers, uh, okay, uh, okay. Let me restart. Besides the Marzen beer, is there just other beers than Marzen?
It's just Festbiers and Märzens for Oktoberfest.
Okay, yeah. I was kind of, I just wanted to ask that. I knew the answer, but I just wanted to make sure, just in case, because uh, I've been doing a lot of Oktoberfest beers, and I just wanted to kind of get out of that, I guess, monotony, for lack
Yeah,
of a better word for saying it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't mind doing Oktoberfest beers in any form, but if they're all kind of the same, I mean, I just want to break up the monotony. That's all.
yeah, and I understand that, but they're not all the same unless you do one that's different that is actually the same. That's the weird thing. You and Bumpy found something different, but that's not different. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
true.
if I could get this screen to work, I'd be so happy. I'd be delighted. All right. So if you hear a cat whining in the background, that's the cat that decided to live here and cries for me, but then it scratches me. It's wild, it's wild that wasn't raised around people.
Oh, feral.
Yeah. Well, it's like becoming like not as wild, but it's very bad. It's very vicious. It scratches. I'm going to tell this construction guy tomorrow. I'm going to say, look, I know you bring your little poodle dog around, your little poodle dog or whatever that shaggy dog is, but I'm going to tell him, I'm going to say, look, that cat might attack it. This cat is very vicious and it doesn't like other animals around the yard. So I hate to see your little dog get scratched up.
Well, I don't know if you want to do this, but I mean, everybody's different. You might want to get the cat, and well, depending on how attached you are, pick it up, maybe drop it off at an animal shelter or maybe another town.
I'd have to trap. There ain't no picking it up. I'd have to trap it. It
Yeah.
doesn't let me really touch it. But anyway, it just cries for me, but it's very babyfied. It wants me to go sit on the porch all day long with it and not do
Okay.
anything else. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, but
Yeah,
it heard
because you got things to do.
yeah, the cat heard us talking, so it came walking. Oh, there it is, climbing up on the fence. You might see it in the video. You're going to get stuck in the fence. And I'm not, okay, go in the other yard. Please stay in the other yard forever.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, back to the beer. Sorry about fantastic feline festivities. If you go to Oktoberfest in New Orleans, they have Hofbräu Oktoberfest, the Spaten Oktoberfest.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
I don't recall ever seeing Weihenstephaner Oktoberfest, but if you go to New Orleans to Oktoberfest, it's really based on who's sponsoring it. You know what I'm saying? Like whoever sponsored it, that's whose beers you're going to see. If they ain't sponsoring it, you ain't going to see it. All right. So it had a thick head and it has a lot of foam, or it had a lot of foam, and it has some good lacing, and it's clear as a bell, really. Yeah, it's clear. But there actually is some sediment roiling about. I don't care how filtered these beers are. You can usually pick up sediment if you have good lighting. Aroma. Oh man, it's the great Weihenstephaner. The aroma is so. It's almost like you can't describe it. It's so rich barley malt, and barley malt is like a cracker, a biscuit. If you're thinking of American light beers like that, it's not going to be the same flavor. It's not going to be the same aroma. It's so different. It's just,
yeah, because they're. Oh, I was about to say they're produced for a different audience, ain't they?
Well, yeah, German. What? Where I'm not German, and I bought it at a local store here, 1 mile from my house. Just you know how people say something is indescribable? Well, this is indescribable because I can't think of a way to describe it. Let's go with the taste. Cheers.
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 Mm. The flavor for this beer is off the chain. And what I mean off the chain, it's so much better than it should be. It's rich biscuity malt. It's cracker. It's bread. And the hop action is working along with it. There's nothing harsh about it. These people that live next door to me, they're always drinking Bud Light, Miller Lite, usually Bud Light. And they love it. They love it. I mean, they just drink it and they always just like, oh, they're so enamored of it. But I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, you know, how could you drink something like I'm drinking tonight and find it harsh? It would just be like a much greater step. But I guess Bud Light is their comfort zone, and they just don't want to expand what they're drinking. And you know, that's just how people are. But I can't criticize him too much, especially since he's going to do all the house repairs from the hurricane. So I can't make him mad. He might do a bad job, you know, for making mad. All right, but anyway, the body's medium. The finish is crisp and dry. I think if you went to Oktoberfest and drank too much of this, you would get really drunk and sick because 5.8% alcohol, it's deceptive. Like it seems, this stuff ain't strong, you know, but it is strong, really. It would be a malt liquor in the United States. And it doesn't have any corn or rice adjuncts, obviously, but if I went to Oktoberfest and I drank 500 milliliters or even, say, 750 milliliters. Let's say I went to Oktoberfest and I drank 750 milliliters. I'd be fine with that. I don't think I'd be too looped up or anything. But once you go above that, you're asking for trouble. You know, you're really asking for trouble. And I don't want that kind of trouble. So I love this beer. And, you know, I'm going to give it a great score. So now we're going to go to this strange situation. And then we're going to go back to a strange situation.
All right. So as you can see, this one's darker. This one does look more like a Marzen. The aromas on it very much like a Marzen as well. You're picking up. It's a little bit dialed back. Not quite as strong. I think Chris was starting to comment on that earlier. But definite the bready, biscuity type notes. It has a slight, you know, like sweet bread type aroma to it. A little bit floral. Yeah, it's got like all the characteristics basically of a Marzen style brew. It just does seem a little bit less hefty on the nostrils.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'll go after the mouthfeel first, just get that out of the way. To me, it's a medium. It's a medium like heft to it on the palate, with like a medium flavor profile as well. So medium body for it. Carbonation, it's in right there in the medium realm as well. Maybe a little bit more spritzy than some that I would throw in the medium realm. Starts off, I get the floral hoppiness right up front, and then it's followed by that biscuit, rich bread notes. There's kind of a slight sweetness to that bread, but not as much as I was smelling in the aromas. It's It's not as okay. So here, I think this is like the difference. It's got a lot of the same flavors as a Marzen. Um,
Yeah.
to me, the one difference is I don't think it's as sweet.
Yeah.
I think that there is kind of a little bit of a lightness to that bread, even though it's a rich bread, a rich like a biscuit and a rich bread note. I think it kind of has that less of a flavor heft of those breads. I think the hops kind of shine through a little bit more. I'm getting the floral hoppiness on the bitter finish that it does have. It's kind of has a mild bittering finish. It's still kind of floral, a bit of an herbal zestiness, and it has a little bit of a drying to the palate as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit more refreshing than some of the Martins I've had that have had like I don't know, they seem to have a heftier body.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only real difference. It really just does seem like a bit of it's mostly just in the body and like just a milder malty flavor, even though it's like pretty much the same flavor profile as a Marzen. So that's my only justification for them calling it a Festbier and not mentioning Marzen at all.
That color is just
Yeah, the color is pretty dark. Like I said, they're using Munich malt. I don't know what your beers used. You probably didn't. They probably didn't use Munich malt in yours. They probably used some type of two row because Munich malt's pretty dark.
they didn't say. It didn't say on the website.
Yeah.
So-
So, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go to Michael now, and he's got a little bit more traditional fest beer, I do believe.
Cheers.
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 I'm surprised nobody's brought Hagel's into the mix.
Say what?
I'm surprised nobody's brought Hagel's score into the mix.
Wait, now it sounded to me like you said, I'm surprised that the Yankees can't clock a score tonight.
No, I said Hagel's score.
Khaki score?
Hagel's score. Okay. Never mind. I'm gonna make myself.
Anyhow,
It's not ideal. Okay, there's Michael.
okay, my beer is somewhere in color between Jay's and the Bitburger. It's not quite as light, but it certainly is not full Marzen color. This is lighter than a Marzen. I would call, well, I guess I would call this kind of like it's gold, but it's not, it's like a caramel gold kind of color. So it's a little bit lighter.
What about the term burnished gold?
Okay, burnished gold. So it's somewhere in between Jay's and the Bitburger.
Yeah.
And as I describe it, because I've already tasted it, let me give you a root. The head has subsided. It started out as like two fingers. Now it's down to thin. It's off-white on the top. You are getting some lacing around the top of it, and it does regenerate well. Okay, the nose. I did take some notes. The nose is kind of like clean and biscuity. And you can smell the malts as well in it. I'm not getting any real hops on the front at all. I know there are hops in here. Let me get the taste.
Yeah, they have hops in it. That's the law.
Okay. It's really not Marzen-like in the taste because I've had lots of Marzens. Marzens, I think, tend to be sweeter than this. So this one is not sweet. It had, I guess I'll describe it. You're getting the breadiness in the taste. It's a strong maltiness. If you're getting any hop kind of sense, maybe it's a little bit on the floral side, but it's not very hop forward at all. It's more malt forward. It's crisp in its taste profile. It's 5.7%. It goes down pretty easy. It's just above a session. This is something you could drink a lot of. It probably would catch up with you, though, because sometimes when you can just put it away, it definitely does catch up with you, no matter what you do. But the lack of sweetness, I guess, is the difference that I see in how they brewed this. They're claiming on the label that it's nuanced to be a Festbier, not a Marzen. So there's intent in this company, this American company, to not make a Marzen, and they are calling it their Festbier. So, like I say, I've had other beers from this company in Minneapolis, so they seem to make a good product. But I'm enjoying this one. It'll be interesting next week to see how the colors are on the Marzens, and you might get some that are actually Festbier color.
Oh, that would be very disturbing to me. Very, very disturbing.
But I am enjoying it, and I'll come back with a number when we go around again.
Okay.
You're muted, Chris.
I'm kind of in agreement with what Bumpy was going on about that, with everything he was saying. But, to me, with this here, I mean, a lot of the Marzens that I've had have been kind of filtered to almost to the point where they were clean. I get that there's some sediment in there somewhere, but I just can't see it. But, to me, this seems almost like a light, I should say, a light version of a Marzen. But, you're still getting all that a taste and like maltiness out of this as you would almost as a Marzen. But, I mean, it's really good. I'm enjoying it. And it's not, I should dare say, as heavy, for a lack of a better way of describing it, as a Marzen. But I'm still enjoying this. I mean, this is the first one that I've had that was a 6.2 compared to like a 5.3 to a 5.6 Marzen. So, I mean, it's kind of one of them wonky deals where it's, I guess, a lighter version, but you got a higher APV to it. And that's kind of unique to me. And, I'm actually enjoying this one. I mean, it kind of smells the same as a Marzen, kind of tastes like a Marzen, but it's not exactly like a Marzen. So, it's all around good. I'm actually enjoying this one. I mean, I've enjoyed other Marzen or Oktoberfest beers. I mean, thoroughly enjoyed them. But this one I'm enjoying a lot more for some reason. So, but then again, I've had a lot of, at least this year, Oktoberfest beers. So that could be a factor in what's going on. So, I mean, I enjoy it. I'm really enjoying this one. So I really can't go on to any more than what Bumpy's already did. So cheers.
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 Here's Chris.
Cheers, and I'm just aggravated that I can't get that beer because we can get Bitburger, but I cannot. Okay, we'll calm down. All right, so now we do the part where we show the scores. And this Weihenstephaner is the bee's knees. It's so good. It is also very good. They make such great beers. I mean, all their beers are at the worst. Like if you had the worst Weihenstephaner beer they made, it would be an A-. But they probably don't really make an A- beer. I'm saying if you had the worst. Now, so here's the score. 95 out of 100. There you see it down there, 95 out of 100. A most excellent beer. And you could even go higher than that, I suppose. But so there it is. Woo, what a beer, 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 what a beer. Yeah, Märzens, they're usually not too strong. Yeah, it is a relief from the heat because it's been hot and humid since about May 15th. And I turned my air conditioner on. I even wrote it down. I keep these little records just to, I don't know, keep track of things. So in May, I turned my air conditioner on May 26th. I was able to draw it out till May 26th, and I put first AC use. Well, it's used May, June, July, August. And then in August, the air conditioner abruptly went off at 4:54 p.m. local time. And it stayed off because Ida made all the electricity start working. But then I turned it back on. It was hot and humid. I woke up this morning at 2:45 a.m. hot and humid. I said, "Oh, where's the cold front?" And I was sitting here looking at some baseball highlights on a computer screen, and I said, "Ooh!" And at 3:30 a.m., it started blowing in. I said, "Oh, look at this!" So, June, July, August, September. So less than 4 months we had of the bad heat, but now the cool is back. But then in January, we'll all be complaining about the cold, right? Okay.
I'll be complaining about the snow and the cold.
54 degrees. Well, that's coming. That's coming here in November.
Yeah,
Right.
okay. That sounds about right for me, yeah.
It looks terrible. That's how it looks. It looks like a pile of rubble. You want to see some bad sights? Come to Louisiana, and you can see some bad things. But I did see some good things today. People up on roofs repairing roofs, or what do you call them? Roofs, if they're plural. And so that was a very good sign. Now, oh yeah,
up on the roofs.
Yeah,
Dogs call them roofs.
Roofs, yeah, up north they say roofs, and on the west bank of this parish, people say roofs. All right, roofs. All right,
Yeah,
so
roofs.
I'm giving it a 95, baby. You get the screen to work, I'll get it transferred. All right, I give up on that. Sometimes it just does not work.
All right. So what I did, I grabbed my Marzen that I'm going to be bringing next week. So I poured some of it into a glass just to do a color comparison.
Already, yeah, it's a little bit darker, yeah.
Yeah.
Not much.
Not
much.
So pretty much exactly the same color. Now this Marzen's only 5.5% ABV as well. This one's 6.2 on the Festbier.
Yep.
And the color is, it's like, wow, no, that was a disappointment. Like pouring that, it's like, because I've had Festbiers that were more like, basically they're like a Helles almost, they're brighter and lighter, and this definitely isn't. But what I noticed with this one, as soon as I smelled it, this one is so much more maltier than the Festbier. It's got less bite, like I said. So that kind of just reinforced that, okay, I think that it is a Festbier. They just took a little different take on it, and it's not an exact Marzen. So with that said, it's a pretty good drinker. It's very enjoyable. It's refreshing. Not the best Festbier I've had. I've had some decent ones. There was one put out a few years ago. I think Victory changed it now. I think they do a Marzen style one, but they did a Festbier before that was that nice, bright yellow Festbier that was quite delicious.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and give this. It's disappointing on the colors. Definitely, it does have a lot of similarities to the Marzen, but it does have the differences, which is pleasing. So I'll give it a 90. I'll give it a 95 out of 100. as well.
Like a delicious beer to me.
It's good. It's a good beer. It's just when you're thinking that you're going to get something else, and you get something where you start thinking that they lied to you.
Don't lie to us, beer companies. Now, Michael's going to give us a score for his interesting Minnesota beer.
Okay, so this is what it looked like again. Had Festbier on the label.
With the pretzels.
Minnesota?
And now I'm getting down to not having that much left to drink. But I was fairly pleased with this as well. And I'm going to give it a 94. Right in the same range as you two guys. A little bit, one point less, but definitely an A. And I think the other beers I've had from this brewery I've liked as well. I would recommend this. And I guess this is closer to style, at least, because the coloration is still, it's light. It's not as light as Jay's, but it's still lighter than a standard Marzen in this. You can see it in the light. So I'm going to give it a 94. And I like it. Very good drinker. So
all right,
far, so
hold on. Let me update my notes here. All right. Good. Trying to get BC into the highlight, but this thing just half the time it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Now, as far as this goes, I'm actually enjoying this a lot more than your run-of-the-mill Marzen beers. And, normally a Marzen beer, I probably scored somewhere in the neighborhood of a 90. But this one, I mean, you still get some of the same elements in this as you would a Marzen. And, I know I've tried to change it up on my show for like maybe different Oktoberfest beers, but I mean, between the Marzen and this, I mean, I would have to go with this one here. And when I was at Discount Drinks, I was actually looking for like the two different styles that I've always heard that it was there. And the way that this was described was more of a Pilsner. And I was like, okay, sweet. Let's try that. Yeah, that's what I was getting off of my smartphone. Yeah, at the time. And so I ended up getting this beer, as Bumpy did, and we know how it went, and I'm actually appreciating this more. Not that Marzens or the Marzens that I've had are bad, but this seems to be a lot better than the Marzens that I've had. And the Marzens that I've given ratings to has been roughly in the neighborhood of 90. And now this one, I'm going to have to give to a 92.
All right.
At the very least. So, I mean, I'm thoroughly enjoying this one. I really am.
So we got 95, 94, 95, 92.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know you could probably pair this with the same stuff that you would with a Marzen. And they say with Marzens, you could pair them with hearty foods like, say, Frankfurters, bratwurst, knotwurst, sauerkraut, so on and so forth. And you could probably pair the same thing with this, and it'd still be great. So I think that's part of the reason why they designed this beer the way they did, is to pair it with them hearty foods. But then again, I'm just thinking out loud. So,
I think it would go great with a chef salad as well.
Yeah. So I'm thoroughly enjoying this.
Those sound like good things. And I had some sushi today, and I would drink it with that. But I think I'd rather have bratwurst and maybe some Wiener Schnitzel and mashed potatoes and gravy. But anyway, you know what, y'all? We got to look at comments real fast because we're about to get off the air. But next week we're doing Märzen's, and this Friday, well, we'll talk about this Friday in a minute. We got an average of a 94, and that's a really high score, 94. They're talking about demonizing people who do hunting videos. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't support any of those kind of things. You know me, I'm very liberal in my thinking of what should be allowed. Okay, anyway, let's see. Let's go back to where we should be right now. We got this comment.
Jay, I'm impressed that Ronald Sutton is putting away 230 packs of hams a week, because that is a good standard. That's a good standard of drinking, if that's what you're into.
I don't know if I'm impressed. I would be more like worried. I think worried might be a better term than impressed.
That's 60 beers in a week. That's a lot, I guess.
That's
Well, he lives on 60 Ham Street. So.
I can remember a time where I used to put a 30-pack of Milwaukee's Best Ice in 2 weeks. So, I mean,
let's see, 22 times 3 is 66. So I do about 22 a week. I would suggest, like I did to Drewski, it wouldn't hurt to try water. You ever tried water? That could be a good thing to drink.
Yeah.
Just, water, it's, I know water's gone out of style, but it's not necessarily a bad. What?
Somebody needs to bring that back. Drinking water.
Yeah, I think in 2022 we're going to do water reviews all year. But I'll probably be the only one. I'll probably be the only guest. All right. So anyway, yeah, I'm a big liberal, as we all know. Michael Komarov shaking his head like, yeah, right. Anyway, of course, that depends how you define the term, of course. And anyway, nightfall is arriving here very quickly. I'm in the central time zone, and it's becoming very dark. But I'll have my windows open. I'm so glad to have the fresh air. I love fresh air. I don't like air conditioning. It's a different type of feeling. But anyway, as far as promos, Friday night, Fandango, Friday liqueurs. I've got the party bucket. I'm going to shake it up and see what I find in the party bucket. And I know it'll be 99 proof. Yikes. Tomorrow morning, I've got Dawn Busters with tequila, the Great Montezuma. You say, now people watch and say the Great Montezuma. No, it's $8.49 a bottle. It's not the Great Montezuma. It's cheap. Yeah, well, I mean, in the sense that it's cheap. Anyway, it is the 9th best-selling tequila in America, believe it or not. It's going up against the probably 90th best-selling one, El Toro, the Bull. Oh my goodness. Well, somebody's got to do it, I guess. Then next Wednesday is Märzen's, which are very common to find in America. Märzen's, that's what people think of in the USA when they think of Oktoberfest beer. So if you get on social media and tell me you cannot find a Märzen, I'm gonna know you're lying. Just tell me the truth. You don't want to join. I won't get angry too bad. I'll get a little angry.
Right now, I can't find it. I can't find it. Yeah.
Bumpy's gonna bring that. He's gonna bring a Festbier mask as a Märzen, or is it a Märzen mask as a Festbier? All right. So any promos for? Now I'm gonna pour a little tequila because I feel cheated only getting 11.2 ounces. I'm not gonna go crazy. I do drink water, y'all. All right.
Woo! Crazy.
There goes Puppy. There goes
All right.
Puppy.
So, I guess first shout out type thingy is After Dark Beers on Sunday. My channel, Bumpy Red Brewery, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring a dark beer based off of the malt profile. Don't bring a fruited sour, pretty much, because that's going to be darker. If it is a darker one, based off of the purees they're used. Looking for dark beers based off of malt. So no food coloring, stuff like that. Multi Monday, 8 p.m. Same channel on mine. That's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're doing Imperial Pilsners. I did make a video on Tuesday, so there's a link in that. You don't have to watch the video. It's just me saying what beer it's going to be. But there is a link in the description. If you want to click that, it brings you right to Beer Advocate's styles for the Imperial Pilsner. So it will give you a whole like 500 listings of Imperial Pilsners that you may be able to find. One or two of them somewhere. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I've been on a gin kick, so I did just pick up some of this gin today. I've been doing different gins, not on the channel at all, but I am looking forward to trying this one. Kind of been going up in price as I'm going. So this one's more expensive than the last one I did. And it does not mention botanicals in this one, so
you're climbing the ladder.
Yeah, just try different ones before I get up to the $50 little tiny bottle of gin. We're getting there. Then I'll probably go back down and just drink the stuff that I just
normally use
because it's cheaper and you get more and it tastes very similar.
I'm assuming you have not reviewed Crystal Palace gin.
I haven't reviewed any gin. I just drink it on the side. It's usually when I just get tired of drinking beer. I'm like,
that's what I meant. I meant it like that, reviewing it in your own mind, not on a video.
Yeah. No, I've had Bombay. I've had Bombay Sapphire. I've had Empress gin, which has some type of butterfly peas, something like that, and it makes it purple in color. I just finished off a bottle of some castle out in England. I don't know. It's like the oldest gin distillery out in England. That was a pretty good one. That one has lavender in it. That was a tasty one. So try this one. I'll give this one a go, and we'll see what I end up with next week, because I'm basically going through these bottles within a week. So.
Do you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, it's only 750 ml.
Right, it's only just a bottle of liquor. All right.
Until we see him out of the show and he's kind of passed out. I was like, Bumpy, what happened?
We know what happened now.
I think John and Nilly will be traveling this weekend, so I don't know if he spoke to Jay and Alex, the beer master, to see if somebody else wants to host out Sunday at 10:30 on Sunday morning. But I assume John will be back the next week, and maybe somebody else will host it this week. But we'll see what happens. Other than that, I'm trying to make my appearances on at least one show a week, and I'll do my best to continue that, at least through the ongoing fall season, which is started. Still warm here, by the way, because talking about how you had a cool wind. It's 75 degrees in New York City right now, so we have not cooled off yet.
Lucky
you know what it is?
I'm sure we
Michael,
will.
you know what it is here? You know what it is here right now? 72.
Well, it's interesting that it's warmer here than it is outside New Orleans, but that's very interesting. But it'll get cooler here. I mean, just by seasonally. So you get into November and December here, and it gets more winter-like, and we can get below freezing in October too. So it's not impossible that we get a cold spell.
Not only will you catch up with us, you will greatly surpass us.
And we get snow too. Which,
We do too. Wow, once every 15 years.
we get snow every season. It just depends how much.
Yeah, same here.
Sometimes a lot, sometimes not so much. But
We got it.
Colder weather to more snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got
You don't have to shovel it if it's 6 degrees. You have to get dressed up more, but you don't have to shovel. So that's one positive thing.
We got snow in 1973. We got snow in 1989, 2004, and 2017. And the snow caused me to drop my Bourbon County Stout and shatter it on the concrete.
Oh man, God, I'm crying.
I was disgusted. That was $10.99 half the drain, $10.99 plus tax.
Man, I spent $20 a bottle. Yeah, I'm Bourbon County. Yeah, what you're talking about? I spent $20 a bottle.
Oh no, I paid $10.99. Yeah, that was enough.
Yeah, see, I only got one bottle downstairs. The last one I broke out was on the 4th of July. So, shows I only had 2 bottles. Well, anyways, I'm glad to see that my Michigan peeps are starting to come out on the batters down there. What up, guys? As you can tell, I'm from Michigan.
Yep.
Anyways, I posted a video earlier today on Sam Adams Oktoberfest. I did this today. I've got a segment on Infantry Outdoors on Friday. That's at 10 o'clock, which was Sam Adams. So you're kind of getting the double review. Saturday, I'm planning to do another Oktoberfest, a Marzen beer by the Wolverine Brewing Company out of Ann Arbor. Saturday. So beyond that, I have no idea. So I still got my Bills beers to do. That's probably going to be the next following Wednesday, next week. And that's basically it for me. So what's up, Michigan peeps?
Hello. Yes, the video of me dropping the bottle and smashing it on the concrete is still posted. But don't watch it. Don't watch it because it's depressing. All right.
You know what they say? Don't watch it. You got everybody watching it.
Yeah, and they were laughing at me, and I was very angry. All right. Now,
I would be too.
I was so disgusted because I said I'm going to sit on the porch with all this snow in the background. You know, people are going to be amazed because it'll be all this thick snow, and people are not used to seeing Louisiana beer reviews with snow, you know. Oh, you're asking for a friend? Just type in on my channel, type in Bourbon County Stout. It'll show up. And the video is only like 30 seconds long. And then I took the beer bottle out and I popped the cap, and then it slipped out my hand and went on the ground. And I was like, damn. And so it was disgusting. And then I had to go back to Matherns and buy another bottle. So now, you know, I'm spending over $20 to try. You know, it's just sickening, you know, but I tried. Hey, I tried to make an interesting video. As it turns out, it was even more interesting, except that it was interesting in a bad way. I did not really swear or say bad words. I just said damn, which I shouldn't say, but that's kind of minor, you know. Anyway, what's the liberal Louisiana beer review's opinion on global warming? My opinion on that.
Okay.
No, my opinion is that I like warm weather. All right, what now, Michael? You just wrote down what?
The lowest recorded temperature in New Orleans was 20 degrees in 1977, and that goes back to the 1800s since they've been taking, you know, recording temperatures. Now, can you remember anything in the 20s that you can remember when, you know, since you've been watching the weather?
I remember 1989. It got to 11 degrees here.
But you're not
Might have
in
been.
New Orleans itself. I guess New Orleans, because it's on
No.
Lake Pontchartrain, would be warmer, right?
Yeah, right. So I'm 25 miles west of the city limits, so we can get a little bit colder weather. But when it got to 11, it was bad because all these they had so much freeze damage here because we're not really made for freeze damage, you know. But normally it's really warm compared to other states because we have December days where it gets to 80 degrees, which I know is unusual for New York or New Hampshire or Michigan to get up to 80 degrees on a like Christmas Day. We've had Christmas Day where it was 80 degrees for the high, and I know it's unusual for New York.
Yeah. I think that happened it was like over a decade ago. In December, we were up in the 60s for a couple days.
But it could also be 11 degrees for a week straight too.
Yeah, or zero or negative.
And here too, and in New York also. Now we're warmer than where Bumpy is because we're right on the ocean, and that does control the temperature. It doesn't get as cold here. Albany, which is the state capital, it's about 2.5 hours north of us, is much colder, probably 15 degrees colder. It's internal, and as you get further west upstate, it's cold also.
Yeah, they're up. Albany's up along the Hudson River, and then if you go west along the Erie Canal, you get to Buffalo, and Buffalo is like incredibly cold.
Right, and Michigan, where BC is, gets really cold too.
Yeah, it really does. I'm right there I'm right on Lake Erie. I mean, I'm like maybe 300 feet from Lake Erie. So
I know that lake is cold.
Yeah, I mean, between Lake Erie, Lake Michigan, and Lake Superior, I'd much rather be by Lake Erie than Lake Superior and Lake Michigan. And we know how Lake Michigan gets with Chicago. And hey, so, and between lakes here, Lake Superior seems to be the maybe widest and deepest lake out of the ones that surround Michigan.
Okay, well, look, we got to get off the air, but let me say this to you. Come down here and sit through Hurricane Ida for like 9 hours, and you be wishing you were by that cold lake.
Hey, just by that question, I know the answer already. I'd much rather deal with what I'm dealing with up here right now. So, yeah.
You come sit through Hurricane Ida, you be wishing you was back in that cold. Anyway,
I hate to say it, but the one thing I wouldn't say it was constant, but the one song that was on my mind when that was happening to you was "New Orleans Is Sinking" by the Tragically Hip. But it's more of a positive thing, where it's like, if New Orleans is sinking, I don't want to swim because it's that good. So, hey.
New Orleans is not as bad as some people say, and it's not as good as other people say. Anyway, but I've been to New Orleans many times since, obviously, I live 25 miles away from it. All right, but anyway, thanks, everybody. This was a festive Festbier video, even though some of the beers were actually Martins in my booklet. But that's another argument for another day. But next week is Martins, so if somebody shows up with a golden beer, I'm gonna be even more troubled. But then in October, we're gonna try it again. A beer from your state at the beginning of October, a beer from your state, and then we're gonna because I got some beers from my state that I couldn't present because my state was in a bad state. But then we're gonna do pumpkin beers. I got to get 3 pumpkin beers for the rest of October. Pumpkin. And I'm getting tired of Shipyard Pumpkinhead. I gotta be honest. But anyway, thanks everybody.
Yeah.
It arrived. Shipyard arrived. All right. Thanks, Bumpy Road Brewing. Thanks, Michael Komaroff with the Festbier approved. Thanks, BC's reviews, whether it's a bottle or a can. He's going to review the beer. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Everybody have a good week.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You too. Cheers.
You too, everybody.